United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization is planning to call on the United States to cut down on its meat consumption. The UN considers America as one of the nations that overconsume meat. The recommendation is reportedly in an effort to lower greenhouse gas emissions. FAIR Initiative, which provides data to address risks in the food sector, estimates food system emissions make up a third of greenhouse gas emissions and 40% of methane gases. The organization says that it hopes the guidelines will create a more sustainable food system.
Well, the green agenda is worldwide. The United Nations wants the Western world to curb its meat appetite. Joining us now is Black Farmers Association President and Virginia farmer John Boyd Jr. John, thanks for being with us. All right, so this is how I'm reading what I'm hearing. The UN is saying to save the climate, we've got to put guys like you out of business. What's your reaction to that?
Well, you know, the UN should be more focused on stopping these wars that we have around the world. We have two full-blown wars, you know, with Ukraine and we have one in Israel. Why isn't the UN doing more to step in and bring peace around the world instead of trying to put America's farmers out of business? And I'm talking today from my beef cattle farm in Boydton, Virginia, where I'm a proud beef cattle man, and I've been raising beef for over 40 years. So here we have Bill Gates trying to put us out of business.
How can we accelerate innovation and the deployment of renewable energy, of clean technology and other green alternatives to move decisively towards investment in this vital transition across all industries? And how can those which have a perverse impact be eliminated with all due speed? Which have a perverse impact be eliminated with all due speed? Be eliminated with all due speed? Be eliminated with all due speed.
Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction. Shalom, Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Kokodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about some of these topics that are being discussed right now over in Dubai at the COP28 summit. And if you're unaware what COP28 is, it's simply the UN's convention surrounding climate initiatives and subjects to combat climate change. And what we just watched are two clips of how the UN is going to start to push a reduction in meat consumption in the United States and also around the world. And the third clip was King Charles stating that not only did they have to move urgently to new fuel standards or transportation standards, but also find a decisive and quick way to eliminate aspects of this current world which they find undesirable. And what that means is they need to find ways to stop you from eating meat. And the UN has found ways. They've already talked about it, and I'm sure we've all heard about it. It has a saying, it's called Eat the Bugs. And it tells you right here, it says, from the United Nations own website, it says, the latest buzz, eating insects can help tackle food insecurities, says FAO. And that's what these devils want. They want you to no longer be able to eat meat, but eat a protein that is created by mealworms or insect larvae, or basically just insects. Okay, this goes all the way back even further than 2013, but this article here is from 2013. The book, Edible Insects, Future Prospects for Food and Food Security, stresses not just the nutritional value of insects, but also the benefits that insect farming could potentially have on the environment and on addressing the rapidly increasing demand for food worldwide. Now, these devils in power, they ultimately are trying to cut off the way of life for you here in Babylon the Great, that being America's name in the Bible. And with that, they're putting chemicals and all these different things in our food, and not only that, but they're trying to create alternatives. So I'm sure we've all heard about it, but you have that devil, Bill Gates, buying up a lot of farmland. And what is he going to be doing on this farm? He's going to be growing the resources that he needs to produce his synthetic meat. We've all seen it, the Beyond Meat items and all these plant-based meat items. Well, now you're also going to have insect-based protein meats. And why is that? Well, because they're tired of feeding the useless eaters of the world, okay? And to do so, they got to transition the people off of the protein that we currently have, right? The cows, the chicken, and all the fishes and everything. This is why you've seen the intentional destruction of the ecosystem and all of these food farms that have created the food for America and around the world. Okay, this is why you've seen a war break out in the European breadbasket, Ukraine, right? Remember a couple of years ago, you had all these factory farms burning up, all these chicken and egg producing factories just all of a sudden being hit by planes, exploding, burning down. All those cows that all of a sudden died of heat, which is something that just they normally can handle, but I guess the heat this year was too much, and you had like 1,000 cows, I think it was down in Texas or somewhere, where they just all died. And not only that, but you've had all these bird flu pandemics coming out where they've had to cull whole herds of flocks of chickens and ducks and all these things. This is because these devils are purposely shutting down the food system. And why is that? Well, because the Bible proclaims that there's going to eventually be a famine that's going to ravage the whole world, but namely here in Babylon. This is Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So you see, famines are on the agenda, not only on Esau's agenda, but the Most High's agenda. This is coming, people. And what this means is that, unless you have the Lord on your side, he's not going to spare you, right? You're either going to fall by the famine, the sword, the pestilence, and all these other hundreds of ways that the Lord could have you be deleted. And the thing is that by getting right with the Lord, by being in this truth, by being diligent, the Lord's going to watch over us, right? And what does the Lord say regarding that? Well, we can find that out in Isaiah 65:13. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Bashim Shai Power, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So you see, it'll behoove you to get right before these things hit. Right, we're right at the door. All the Akim, the apostles, have all been stating this. And again, if you can't see what's coming, then you're obviously not paying attention, or you've purposely been blinded. And chances are you're not even watching this video. But those of you who are watching these videos, you do know what's coming. You do understand what needs to be done. And again, this is simply just me edifying the body to let you brothers know that this is why it's important for us to have the Lord on our side. This is why it's important for us to keep doing this work and not fall out. Because why? Because it's not about just staying in this truth just to stay in it and stuff. But no, it's to stay in this truth to protect yourselves, to do the Lord's will. Because when you serve the Lord, he's going to take care of us. And that's because the Lord watches out for his servants. This is Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And that's what's happening right now. The world is governed by the wicked. And that wicked is referred to as the nation of Edom in the Bible. Okay? And today, the Edomites would be referred to as Caucasian, as this is their name that they have decided to go by. But, shortly the world will all learn that the Caucasian race are the Edomites of the Bible, which is the nation prophesied to be in rulership before the second coming of the Messiah, and also the nation that would have the world morally, spiritually, and economically upside down, and that would be ruling in wickedness through their force. Well, once that happens, as the Messiah said, once the man of perdition is revealed, then the end shall come, right? But we all know that that isn't going to happen until the mark of the beast is made mandatory and World War III kicks off. So again, we could all see the news. We all seeing that this war in the Middle East and in East Asia, West Asia, is all starting to heat up. And so we're at the door, Akim. So this thing, we don't got that much time, as Apostle Tahar says. This is Wisdom of Solomon 15:12. But they counted our life as a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. For say they, we must be getting every way, though it be by evil means. And these devils, that's what they're ultimately doing. And they're doing this because, like I just said, we are at the end. And at the end, these devils know that they don't have that many options, which is why they're being ruthless. This is why the Lord said that when the devil has come down onto the earth and he knows that he has a little time, he ain't gonna mess around. He's gonna not spare the flock. He's going to bring forward that wrath. And that's what we're seeing. Though these devils go around talking about, we have to do this to save the women and children who are most affected by climate change and food insecurity and all these things. And they talk about making the internet more equitable for everybody. These devils, though they speak softly and they sound like they're saying good things, it's ultimately all for a trap. It's to get you set up into their new kingdom, where they'll be set firmly on top as the rulers, and where the rest of the people of the world, the other nations, including us Israelites, would be set in a perpetual state of servitude, where we can never rise up against those in power, right? They're going back to a state of feudalism, which they're referring to as neo-feudalism, right? Where basically you got the king, right? Which they just happened to crown their new king, King Charles, right? Which, by the way, King Charles, if you don't know, is for the most part the mastermind behind the World Economic Forum. He is the one who basically gave Klaus Schwab the marching orders to run and basically set up the World Economic Forum. A lot of the ideas Klaus Schwab pushes came from King Charles, which is why he has always showed up at the WEF, COP28, and why he's going to become more of a figurehead, okay? Because this devil, these Edomites have crowned their new king, and they're planning on setting up the new reign. And they're going to do that by trying to establish the rule forever. But what does the Bible say? Matthew 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And that's ultimately what's happening. Because you see, this is why we now perceive the 24-hour day as 16 hours. Science has found that the Schumann resonance, which is the vibration that the earth vibrates at, is actually increased. So hence we are now perceiving the day faster. This is why days just seem to go by quick, because the Lord has sped up time. And these devils, they're obviously behind schedule, which is why they're rushing right now, and they're getting sloppy, and their agendas or the false flags are always being discovered, because they're not as precise as they used to be, right? Esau, he's rushing through, and he's basically making a mess of things, okay? He's bringing out all these agendas too quickly, people are being agitated and they're not falling in line. This is why you're seeing so much sedition in the world, because people know that there's something up and they know that it's not for their good. And ultimately, this is going to lead to the prophecies of the Bible being fulfilled, that the people, the nations are going to rise up against Esau. The Israelites are going to be woken up from their slumber. Well, at least 1/3 of them are, because they're going to realize what's going on, right? Not only but from us Israelites, the prophets, preaching and telling them, right? But also just from the agitation and all the hell that these devils are bringing up on our people, right? And I can attest to this, just like the apostles said, during the lockdown, a lot more people started to visit and watch my videos. I got a big bump in views and followers once the lockdowns came, because people started to realize something was up. And these devils, by changing the system, trying to cut off the meat, trying to cut off your car, they just initiated that congestion fee over New York. That whole thing is a copy of what they did in London, right? And I'm pretty sure we're going to start seeing those cameras in New York being cut down, just like they were cut down over in London, but these devils aren't going to stop. They're going to keep going, and they're going to bring that congestion parking or congestion fees all over the major cities. Hence why we've always said you should try to get out of the cities while you can, Akim, because in the cities it's going to be a hellhole, okay? And you could definitely imagine that there's going to be famine in these cities. So either way, I wanted to share these news articles with you, or the news clips with you, to show you, man, that these devils, they're coming for your life, man. They're coming to change your livelihood around. The life that you grew up in, the world that you grew up and knew, is gone. These devils are changing it, and they don't have plans for you to live in it. So either way, hopefully this video was edifying. I'll keep until the next time. I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahshai, Ba'Shem Rukok Wardash. Shalom.